Hey there, I'm Patrick Franco. We're gonna look at Virasana, which is often translated as hero's pose. This is a seated posture that we often start class with, or we use for meditation or breathing practices towards the end of class. And this is a great pose because it stretches the fronts of the feet, ankles, shins, and knees, as well as the quadriceps and thighs. It also does have some strengthening components to it because it stabilizes the outer hips with those muscles, as well as stabilizing the core and the spine in order to sit upright. So let's go ahead and look at Virasana now, hero's pose. And guess what? It looks very much like the shape I am in now, except for a minor detail of the feet. So the knees and thighs are parallel to each other in classic Virasana, but the feet actually sit wider than the hips. And so my outer hips are gonna catch my inner feet. In order to do that, I'm gonna come onto all fours. My knees will stay together, and then you can separate them, but no wider than parallel. I'm gonna draw the flesh of my calves out of the way, which allows me to sit between my feet, meaning my inner ankles catch my outer hips. And then your buttocks will come to the floor, and then we use the hands in order to lift the chest. You can see what the issue maybe might be for most students. The idea is that if the buttocks don't easily come to the floor because there's not the flexibility in the knees and the shins and the ankles, the spine will collapse. So one way that we address this for most students is to put a block, a blanket, or a bolster in order for the hips to sit on so that we can let them relax and let the spine elevate. So I'm gonna use a block because I think we use a block most often for this pose because it's easily accessible to grab. I'm gonna put the block down on the low height, and typically it would be on the low height because this is great width for the buttocks. And you can do this on 2 blocks if you need to. Anything more than 2 blocks, I would say sit in another cross-legged position. So I'm gonna turn so you can see my feet and ankles. This is key. I do not want the block to go past my inner ankles up towards my inner shin because then it's gonna catch my hamstrings. The block, if you're using it, really has to be between the big toe knuckle and the inner ankle bone. And then when I sit back, I can move the flesh of my calves out of the way, and you can see that the block just catches my buttocks flesh to give it support, but also it's not all the way under my hamstrings, so it allows my inner groins and thighs to release down. And now because I have that support of the block, my spine can more easily lengthen up. Once that's happening, I can use my hands pressing down either onto the floor or the soles of my feet to allow the sides of my trunk to lift and elevate. All right. That's Virasana, hero's pose. It's a great seated pose either to begin your yoga practice with at the start of a class or towards the end of a practice when you're working on meditation or pranayama, because it allows the spine to sit upright even if you have to use the assistance of a block or a bolster underneath the hips. All right, that's Virasana. We'll see you in the next pose.